Welcome to the Real Board Loft. I'm Trip Foreman, and this is the Christenson Flat Tracker 2.0. This is a new version of the Christenson Flat Tracker that was released this summer, and we're lucky enough to get our hands on it right when all of the surfing in Cape Hatteras went from normal peaky beach break surfing to these beautiful lined up sand points. And so I had a ton of time surfing this board from the middle of June all the way through now, and just had an insane time on it. A lot of backside surfing on it, a lot of long frontside point breaks on it, and also some good beach break surfing as well. So talking a little bit about this board, the Christenson Flat Tracker is the #1 model that Christenson sells. It's typically set up as a single fin, and there's just a lot of people that surf that board and absolutely love it. So why replace it? The #1 reason is increasing the range of the board, allowing the board to surf better in larger waves and also more hollow waves. And the other reason is to improve the maneuverability of the board over the original version. So talking a little bit about this board, in those aspects, the big thing that is changed on this board is you look at the nose. The nose is roughly the same. The outline is roughly the same. The dimensions are roughly the same. Where this board differs is in the business end of the board, which is the back end of the board. And so we'll bring it down here, right in the middle of the frame, and look what's going on here. The original, what's up with that tree over there? The original board has a very square tail. And so the rail line would come out like this, and then square off, go down, and then come back. So they've taken a decent amount of area out of the corners of the board. And then there's also quite a bit more V in the tail of the board. So holding the board here, you can see that you get to about here, and the V starts. And all the way back through here, there's quite a bit of V through the back of the board, especially right here, right in front of the fin. And as we know on V, what V does is it allows the board to roll in and out of the turns off of that V. Also, having the reduced tail area allows the tail to sit down in the water and be a little bit more neutral. So that combined with the V allows this board to really get up on rail and turn, whether it be at slow speeds or really going fast, to turn through the maneuvers a lot easier and a lot more fluidly compared to that larger tail. The larger tail and the original version still has more power, a little bit more glide in really slopey, soft, mushy conditions, but the emphasis on that advantage is really small, slopey, mushy. Once you get beyond that, this board has equal range on the low end, and it has a lot more maneuverability and better range through the top end of the board and through wider range of conditions. Now, it doesn't go in crazy tubes like a sea bucket would, but it actually enters into a lot of that range for a single board. So if you're looking to have one board and the majority of the time you're surfing in pretty average waves, this board is a great board to get from Christenson because if you do have a good day at home or on a trip, you could still surf it and get a lot of performance out of it. Where before the original Flat Tracker, when you got it into hollow, fast-moving surf, it was a little bit of a handful in the tail, where this one you really don't feel that sensation. Talking a little bit about surfing this board, I mean, it's just absolutely buttery, catches a ton of waves. The thing with all Christensons, unless you're talking about his high-performance shortboards, is the glide of the board. The board has really good glide, really good high-line glide, the ability to really stand anywhere on the board. And then you also, on the Flat Tracker 2.0, have the ability to ride this board. The majority of them that you'll see will be set up with a single fin. This board's a 7.6. The single fin that we have on it is a Joel Tudor 8.5, and that worked out really well. For this board, I've seen people ride smaller ones, and this is a very low area 8.5-inch fin. Typically, people would ride about a 7.5-inch wider base fin on this board, but this is a low area 8.5. You could also get this board set up as a thruster, and you could ride it as an equal thruster, or you can play around with the sizing of the fins, and it also works really well as a thruster. Why ride this type of board as a thruster? If you want to get a little bit more maneuverability out of it. But also, if in your head you're like just not quote unquote the single fin guy, and you want the glide, you want the ease of wave catching, and you want the range and wave count, but you're not a single fin guy and you want to ride it as a thruster, you can get this board set up that way. The amount of time that I've ridden this board, the other thing I want to say about it is just the durability of the board. The majority of the time I was riding it, because it was all point breaks, I was riding it without a leash. And just because the way the wave was breaking down the point, if you lost your board, it didn't even go that far before it washed up on the beach. And the board held up really well. Just the wave count, when I've stripped the board down, the amount of sessions I've surfed it and the number of waves I've caught on it, and a lot of those waves, how long you could surf them. I was surprised that the deck had minimal wear, as far as just even like the denting on the deck was not like what you would expect after riding a board like really hard for 6 months. So really well put together, and the right glass schedule for a board like this. Even the bottom where the board was like washing up on the point, there's like some scratches and stuff on the bottom, but everything held together really well. So they do a great job at Christenson on the glass schedule and the glassings as well. So it's the Christenson Flat Tracker 2.0. If you have any more questions on this board, you can give us a call at the shop, 252-987-6000, or you can look us up online, realwatersports.com/surfing. Thanks for tuning in.